Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I probably almost started class late because I was just so distracted by chatting about the sunshine that's happening this week. So, welcome to your practice Monday night, setting the week off right with a little bit of movement and community and maybe nap time or just beverage time if that's what you're needing. Um, for those of you who maybe are new or haven't practiced with me, I'm Jaime. If you didn't see in the class chat, you will want either two blocks if you have blocks or two block like items. So maybe paper towel rolls or water bottles. We're going to use those a little later on in class for some of the work that we're doing tonight. So take a moment and grab those items if you need them. Um, and as with any of our practices, just making sure that you're doing what feels good and just leaving everything else that's just not feeling good, especially on a Monday. It's the start of the week, so no need to overdo it or just go for gold today. If you need to ease up a bit, then just ease up and give yourself a little rest and a little break if you need it. Um, we're going to work through Warrior 3 this evening. So we're going to use our support. I was reminiscing about all of the moments when we used to be able to be physically close and all those really wonderful group Warrior 3 moments in classes. So we're going to simulate our friends with blocks and pretend invisible friends tonight. But just kind of moving through it, feeling what feels good, finding a little balance, but easing out if you need a little bit less balance tonight. So we are going to get started in a comfortable seat. So if you did grab a blanket and you want to place it underneath the hips just to elevate them a little bit, that's totally an option. And then as you come to kind of get settled here, if you're using the playlist tonight, it's in the chat in the description. Go ahead and hit play. Um, so you have a couple options for your hands. So palms can be down on the knees. You can have palms facing up towards the sky, or maybe you do one of each if you're just not really sure what you're needing or feeling tonight. So all those options apply. And then just starting to let maybe the eyes close or the gaze drift to the floor. And as you settle into this stillness here, just making sure that the spine is staying nice and tall, almost like the back is leaning up against a wall or a chair. Crown of the head's reaching up towards the sky. And just starting off our practice with that same bit of awareness that we do every time we gather. Just a little moment of check in, seeing how the body is feeling, maybe recognizing areas that are feeling tired or cranky or stuck. Just making a mental note to kind of tuck that away for when we start to add some movement in. Bringing that same awareness to the breath and how it's just naturally moving in and out of the body here. If it feels like it's easy and comfortable, or if it feels like it's a little bit more work. And then just bringing that awareness to the mind as well. So if there's the lists and the tasks and the to-dos and the emails and whatever that's been kind of carrying around with you today, just taking stock of what's floating around in the mind. And with these next few moments, just recognizing the things that you can set down or let drift away for these next little moments of class. Just allowing yourself an hour of time to kind of disconnect, get down into the body and the breath, and let those floating to dos just take a little moment of pause. They'll still be there. You can scoop them back up when we're done. But for a moment, just finding some space to let them go. We're just going to breathe here for a few more breaths, starting to allow that breath to find that easy and natural rhythm in the body. Full inhales, full exhales. As I was being a little reminiscent of past times, I was flipping through one of my old yoga notebooks and I came across an intention that I had written down for a class a few years ago, I think. And I just thought that it was a fitting intention for our practice tonight, especially as we work through postures that involve balancing on one foot or doing some things that are not natural to the body in like our day to day work or existence. And so I wanted to invite you to allow this intention to be your intention, if that makes sense. If you already know what it is that you're needing from this practice, just allowing that to settle in the mind and the heart here. So, tonight, I offer you this kind of focus or this idea of slowing things down. We're not going to move particularly fast tonight. Still going to be lots of movement, lots of opportunities to work up a sweat, but just really being slow and being intentional with each breath, with each movement of the body, noticing the energy that you're bringing into your space, bringing onto the mat, and noticing what that energy feels like as you invite it into the body and into your movement. So, if you get into these poses and you start to lose that sense of being intentional, really specifically inviting energy in, just take a pause, settle back into that breath, and then find it all again. Really making sure that you are forever staying kind of the boss or the person in charge on your mat. We're all each our own independent little mat bosses tonight. And so just really being thoughtful about what it is that's happening between the four corners of your mat, what it is that you're inviting into your mind, into the body and the breath, and what things maybe you can set aside or push away as we start to get into it. Taking just a couple more big breaths here. With these next few breaths, as you inhale fully, filling up the belly with air, feeling that expanse, that space. And then as you exhale, at the bottom of that exhale, can you feel this sensation of a little hug in of the core, belly button to spine, a little hello to our core muscles at that bottom of your exhale? And feeling the spine and the back being very supported by this activation, this engagement of our core. Start to blink the eyes open here. We're going to take a nice big reach, arms out to the side, all the way up. Oh, I'm going to knock into my plant here, all the way up to the sky, pressing the palms together, bringing the hands down to the heart. We're going to move through that one more time. Nice wide reach here, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. We're just going to flip it and reverse it. So pressing the hands up towards the sky. We're going to pull those elbows apart, finding that heart opening space, that virtual high five moment, feeling the shoulder blades pulling together and down the back here. And then just bringing those elbows down to the sides. Maybe the hands come down towards the mat. We'll bring hands to heart center. One more time, just like that. Reaching up, Finding that cactus arm shape, maybe lingering for just a moment, feeling all those little sensations down the back and in the shoulders. Hands will come down to the mat, and then we'll bring hands to heart center. We're going to take those left hands down to the mat, out to the side here. This opposite hand can just come down to the knee. And then we're going to start to take the right ear over towards that right shoulder, finding this little bit of stretch and expanse through the neck and the shoulder. And make sure as you settle into this stretch that this left shoulder is not creeping up towards the ear where our shoulders like to live during the day. So really feeling that release of the shoulders down the back, that stretch and release through the neck, through the side body. We'll bring the head right back up to center, bringing that left hand back to the knee, reaching that right arm out to the side, and then that left knee is dropping over towards the left shoulder. So same thing here, just do a little shoulder check. See where everything is existing, and then maybe you find just a little more release, a little more let go. We'll start to bring the head back to center, bringing that hand back to the knee. We're going to bring hands to heart center. Start to tilt back on those sit bones, bringing the feet straight out in front. So we're going to start with feet planted, keeping the feet about hip width distance, so a little space between the knees. Hands can come to the back of the thighs here. And then we're just going to start to sit back on those sit bones, feeling that length of the spine. I'm going to turn so you can see. So we want to make sure that the spine is staying nice and tall. So we don't want to start to get into this kind of like rounded back cat shape, but keeping everything super engaged. Feet can stay on the mat, or maybe you start to float those toes. We're not going to add on any of the extra bells and whistles for this boat pose, really just focusing on lengthening through the spine, feeling that little bit of core engagement happening. One more big breath wherever you're at. And then we're going to cross the legs the opposite way, so the way that feels a little extra weird, and then settle right back into our seat. Inhale, nice big reach. Exhale, hands, heart center. Inhale, nice big reach. We're going to start to twist towards the right knee, hands drop down. Feeling the spine nice and tall here. Settling into this twist as much as it makes sense to you and your body. Inhaling, hands right back up. Twisting towards that opposite side, settling back in. And just recommitting to all of those things that we established. So spine is nice and tall, a little engagement of the core, making sure those shoulders aren't starting to creep back up towards the ears. Inhale, hands back up to the sky. Hands to heart center. We're just gonna make our way over into cat-cow. So taking a moment to get set up, wrists below the shoulders, knees below the hips. We're gonna take a couple rounds of our cat-cow here. Inhale, drops the belly, lifts the heart. Exhale, rounding it out. Coming back to that intention or that focus. Can you slow things down? Can you be aware of that energy that you're inviting in to the space? We're going to take just a couple more rounds of this cat-cow here. Giving yourself space to maybe pause or add extra movement if it makes sense. Settling into our nice flat tabletop shape. We're going to start to send those left toes straight back behind us, keeping the toes on the mat. So making sure that the crown of the head staying nice and long. We don't want to just like be super distracted by what's happening with our legs. So crown of the head reaches forward, pressing gently back through that left heel, lengthening through that leg. Coming back to that neutral space. Feeling that little hug in of belly button to spine. Maybe you start to float that back foot, but keeping that nice long line in the body. So we don't want to kick this foot way up. We want to keep it really neutral. One long line here. With our exhale, crunching that knee in towards the chest. Inhale kicks it right back out. One more time, just like that. Crunching it in, kicking it out. We're going to cross that foot back behind us, looking over that right shoulder, finding that little bit of side body stretch here. And then we'll bring that knee back into our table shape. Recommitting to this shape. Crown of the head reaches forward, belly button hugs in. Right toes are going to reach back. Keeping those toes on the mat, pressing gently through that heel, finding that little release in the calf, that nice long stretch here. Coming back to neutral. Finding all of those recommitments to the things that we've established. We're going to start to float that foot. Exhale, hugs that knee in towards the chest, rounding the back. Inhale, kicks it out. One more time, crunching it in. Kicking it out. Crossing it back behind us, looking over that left shoulder. And then we'll bring that knee right back to center. Inhale, drops the belly, lifts the heart. Exhale, rounding the back. Coming back to table. Tucking those toes, lifting hips, down dog. Just spending a couple breaths here, bending into the knees, walking it out. Any little movements to kind of warm up the body in this shape. Settling into our down dog shape. We're going to take the feet just slightly wider than that hip width distance. Not all the way towards the edges of the mat, but moving out a little bit wider set. We're going to inhale, coming up onto the tiptoes. Exhale, heels are going to drop over towards the right. Pressing the weight back towards the feet. Inhale, coming right back up onto those tiptoes. Heels press over towards the left. Same thing here. Can you shift that weight back? Rolling back to tiptoes. We're going to keep the feet wide, just pressing those heels back. Kind of a wide-legged down dog. Putting a little bend into the knees. Shifting that weight back towards the feet. We're going to start to walk the hands back towards the feet as well. Just trying to keep that weight shifting back as you settle into a forward fold back of the mat. Keeping a bend to the knees if that makes sense. Really letting the upper body hang out here. Maybe you grab opposite elbows. We'll release the elbows. Keeping that bend, we're gonna roll all the way up. Once you're there, nice big reach, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands, heart center. We're gonna move through just a couple little movements at the back of the mat here. Feet can stay wide. If you just really don't love this wide-legged shape, you can scooch the feet back in. Inhale, nice big reach, folding forward. Halfway lift, nice flat back, folding forward. Inhale, reaches all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale to reach, folding forward. Halfway lift, folding forward. Inhale, reaches all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale to lift. Finding our fold. Halfway lift. Folding forward. Putting a nice deep bend into the knees here. We're going to start to crawl the hands forward, coming back into that wide-legged down dog shape. And then just walking the feet back in. Bending the knees, looking forward between the hands, walking or hopping forward, forward fold. Inhale, reaches all the way up. Exhale, hands, heart center. I'm going to start to add on a little bit here. Inhale, nice big reach. Hands can stay reaching, or you can bring hands to heart center. You choose what you need. We're going to start to shift weight into that left foot, right knee comes up. First little balance check-in. Taking a moment, keeping that right foot super engaged here. So like it's pressing into something. Feeling that little bit of the core work, making sure that the shoulders are releasing and relaxing down the back. We're going to start to step that foot back behind us, coming into our high lunge. Settling in here. Inhale, straightens that front knee. Exhale, bend the knee, bend the elbows, cactus arms. One more time, just like that. Inhale to reach. Bending the knee, bending the elbows. Keeping that front knee bent, hands reach up. Hands are going to come down around the foot. Any way you want to get there, stepping it back. Down dog. You have the option to stay and hang out here. You can drop to table or child's pose. If you want that vinyasa, it's there for you. Rolling forward to plank. Knees up or down as you lower. Any amount of back bend. And then sending the hips up and back. Down dog. If it makes sense in the body, right foot reaches up and back, stepping it forward. Coming on up, high lunge. Keeping the hands reaching, or hands can come to heart center. We're just going to start to shift that weight forward, stepping that back foot forward. Quick little hello to chair pose. And then all the way up to stand. Hands to heart center. Inhale, nice big reach. Same options, hands can stay reaching, or you can bring hands to heart as you shift weight into that right foot. Left knee comes up. Again, taking a moment of pause, feeling that left foot super engaged here. Lifting in length through the spine. We're going to start to send that foot back behind us, stepping into that high lunge. Inhale, straightens that front knee, bending the knee, bending the elbows, cactus arms. One more time, just like that. Reaching up, bending the knee, bending the elbows. Knee will stay where it's at. Arms reach up. Hands come down around the foot, stepping it back, down dog. Same options are here for you. Down dog, table, child's pose. Maybe you take that vinyasa. This is a very vinyasa-like class from here on out, so if you're needing a little extra, feel free to sprinkle it in. From our down dog, left foot reaches up and back, stepping it forward. Coming on up, high lunge. We're going to start to shift that weight forward, sneaking that back foot forward, chair pose, all the way up to stand. Hands to heart. Just bringing hands down at your sides here, letting the palms face forward, maybe letting the eyes close, gaze drift to the floor. Taking a moment to bring it back, settling back into that intention, that breath, that space that you've created. Start to blink the eyes open. Reaching the hands up towards the sky. Hands can come to heart center. We're going to start to shift weight into the right foot. Left knee's coming up. So we're going to come into just a little moment of dynamic movement. So we're going to start to find a little tilt forward. That left foot's just going to kick back towards the bum, keeping that knee bent, and then bringing that knee back up towards the chest. We're going to do that 2 more times. So finding that little tilt forward, keeping the shoulders pulling down the back, little hug in of belly button to spine. Finding that tilt 1 more time here, pausing for a moment. Maybe you extend that left leg all the way back, and we're stepping it back into that high lunge. Nice big reach, hands to the sky. So you have the option to stay up on those back toes. You can also plant that back foot if you need a little more sense of grounding tonight. Arms are going to stay reaching. We're going to inhale and straighten that front knee. As we bend the knee, folding forward, arms fly back. Inhale to lift as you straighten. Bending the knee, folding forward. 1 more time, just like that. Reaching up. Bending the knee, finding that fold. Pausing here for a moment. So feeling crown of the head lengthening forward. Feeling the spine nice and long. That little hug in of belly button to spine. That long line from the back heel all the way up through the crown of the head. Bringing those hands back up towards the sky. Hands are going to come to heart. Shifting that weight forward. This time we're going to bring that left knee all the way up towards the chest. Stepping down if you need to. And then foot to the ground. Inhale, nice big reach. Pausing here for a moment. Really feeling the body lengthen. Feeling that sense of grounding down into the mat, into the floor. Hands are going to come to heart. Shifting weight to that left foot. right knee comes up. We've been here before. Settling in for a moment. We're going to start to find that little tilt forward and back. So as you tilt forward, that heel's just going to kick back towards the bum, bringing it back, knee to chest. One more time, just like that. Bringing it back. We're going to kick that foot back towards the bum one more time, pausing here for a moment. Maybe you start to extend that leg, and then we're stepping it back, high lunge. Settling in, feeling that connection of feet to the floor. Option to drop that back heel, warrior one. We're going to inhale and lift, bending the knee, folding forward, arms fly back. Inhale reaches up as you straighten. Bend and fold. Reaching up once more. Finding that fold again, and then settling in for a couple breaths of pause. So same engagement here. Nice long line from that back heel. Little hug in of belly button to spine. Reaching those hands up towards the sky. Hands are going to come to heart. Shifting that weight forward. We're bringing that right knee all the way up towards the chest. And then feet to the ground. Settling into pause here. Maybe the eyes close. Checking back in with the breath, with the body, with the mind. We'll start to blink the eyes open. We're going to come into a little moment of balance before we head into our next little sequence. So just making sure feet are about hip width distance, nice and firmly rooted down to the mat. We're going to just start to float the toes a little bit so you can really feel that engagement of all the four corners of your feet rooting down into the mat. So you can keep those toes lifted if that's helpful. You can also, keeping them kind of spread out, bring them back down. We're going to shift weight into the right foot. Start to bring that left knee up towards the chest. We're going to take that knee out to the side. And then we're settling into our tree pose. So that can be calf, kickstand. You can bring it up to the thigh. Taking a moment to get settled here. And before you feel the urge to add on and do all the things, can you find that sense of length through the body, that hug in of the right hip, and that engagement that's happening through the torso? I know a lot of times it feels like all the work is happening down here, but there's still a lot of work that can be done in this upper part of the body. We'll bring hands to heart center, feeling that lift through the crown of the head. That release of the shoulders away from the ears. We'll start to bring that knee back forward, both feet on the mat. Settling in again, finding that moment of pause, both feet connected to the floor. Maybe you float those toes again to reconnect. We'll start to shift weight into that left foot. Right knee comes up. When you're ready, taking it out to the side. Same options here, kickstand, calf, or thigh. And again, just really honing in on all those little mini shifts and movements that happen to keep this nice tall shape happening. So that left hip is hugging in. Spine is reaching nice and tall. The core is engaged. Crown of the head is lifting. Maybe you imagine that cute little forest of trees, fellow yogis happening all over. And then we'll start to bring that knee back up, bringing that foot down to the mat. So we're gonna get set up for this next little sequence. So your blocks or your block-like objects, you're gonna wanna have them at the front of your mat. So making sure that they're easy to reach. And I recommend putting them on their tallest option to start. You can make adjustments as we start to get into this next little sequence, but just making sure that you can reach them easily from the front of your mat here. So just getting started in that Tadasana shape. Hands will come down at our sides, allowing the eyes to close, settling in for a couple moments of breath here. Starting to blink those eyes open. Reaching those hands up towards the sky. We're going to start to bring that right knee up towards the chest. Starting to find that tilt forward as we extend that right foot behind us. So a little moment in Warrior 3 as we step it all the way back, planting that back heel, settling into our Warrior 1 shape here. Just finding a moment of pause. Can you feel all of those activation points in the upper part of the body? Pulling the elbows apart, finding that cactus arm shape. Reaching back up. We're going to start to bring hands down to the mat. So we're going to reach for our blocks here. Just bringing them so that they're on either side of that front foot. So we're still in our Warrior 1 legs. That front knee is bent. This is kind of the point that you can choose if this height feels good or if you want to drop it down a little bit, that's an option as well. So the starting point is kind of like that mini cat-cow shape that's happening. So heart is pressing forward, finding that little bit of cow here. And then we're going to start to straighten that front knee as we round the back a bit, settling into kind of a little mini cat shape with this front leg stretch. Bending into the knee, finding that cow shape. One more time, straightening that front leg. We're going to breathe here for a couple breaths. Maybe you play with block height here. Maybe you don't use the blocks, you just let the hands come down to the mat, choosing what you need. Feeling that left hip kind of still pulling back in space. Equal amount of weight between the feet in this shape. We're going to start to bend into that front knee. Heart presses forward. Bringing the blocks back to that kind of high shape and just walking them forward a little bit. We're going to pop up onto those back toes. So again, still keeping that nice long shape here. We're going to start to press the hands into the blocks as you start to lift that back foot. So this is essentially a supported leg lift, but it's also a supported Warrior 3. And then we're going to step that foot back, reaching the hands up, maybe straightening that front knee. So we're going to move into this a couple times. Each time you have the option of kind of exploring some more options here. So we'll start to bend into that knee. Hands are going to come down and find those blocks. We'll start to settle into that leg lift. Again, reconnecting with all those pieces that we've been building. Spine is long, core is engaged. Actively pressing through that back foot. We'll step that foot back, reaching up, straightening the front knee. We're going to come into this one more time. finding that warrior three shape. This last round, maybe you play with bringing hands to heart center, bringing the hands back to the block, just stepping that back foot forward, forward fold. And really folding all the way forward, putting as much bend in the knees as you need to here. And then inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands, heart center. Inhale, nice big reach. Shifting weight to that right foot. Left knee comes up. Settling in for a moment. We're going to start to send that foot back behind us. Maybe you fly for a moment. Stepping it all the way back. Warrior one. Pulling those elbows apart, finding that heart opening shape. Reaching back up. So we're going to start to find that tilt forward, finding those blocks, bringing them to either side of the foot here. So again, you can pop up onto those back toes. You can keep that back heel planted, whichever makes the most sense for you. Settling into that little bit of cow. And then we're going to start to straighten that front leg, rounding the back. Bending the knee, heart presses forward. One more time, finding that straight leg. Again, maybe you explore options for the height of your blocks, or the hands can come down to the mat. Feeling that right hip press back in space. Equal weight between the feet. Start to bend into that knee, bringing those blocks or those block objects on the tallest point, just walking them forward a bit here. We're going to pop up onto those back toes and then start to find that lift of the back leg as you settle into this kind of supported standing leg lift, supported warrior three. Stepping that foot back, planting the heel, reaching up, straightening that front knee. Bending the knee, hands come back down. Finding it again. Breathing into this shape, exploring all those options. Is the crown of the head reaching forward? Is the core engaged? Stepping that foot back, reaching up. Last round here, stepping into that supported leg lift or warrior three. Maybe the hands come up towards the heart. We're just going to step that back foot forward, forward fold. Nice deep bend to the knees. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows. Letting everything hang out here. Finding a little bit of sway or movement side to side. Then we'll release the elbows. Rolling slowly all the way up. Once you're there, nice big reach. Hands to heart center. We have one last little round of balance that has a little bit more fun to it, a little less concentration on all the things that are happening in the body. So We're still coming into that kind of warrior three shape. So I'm gonna start facing you and then I'll probably flip so I don't kick my wall back here. So we're gonna start by taking a nice big reach, hands to the sky. We're gonna pull those elbows apart, finding this cactus arm shape. So I was inspired by all of those group warrior three moments we used to have. So this is essentially us pretending that our friends are out here helping us. So you can keep this cactus arm shape. You can also find that T arm shape if you really want to pretend like you've got buddies on either side of you. So either option. We're going to start to shift weight into that right foot. Left knee comes up. So taking that moment of pause here, feeling that lift through the chest, shoulders making their way away from the ears. And we're going to start to send that left foot back behind us, settling into our warrior three with our imaginary friends. All those same pieces. We're going to bring that knee right back up. I don't know if anyone remembers these cute little can kicks we used to do, and then bring that foot right back down to the mat. Reaching those arms up, letting the whole body hang out here for a moment. And then when you're ready, finding that cactus arm shape or that T arm shape, shifting weight into that left foot, right knee comes up. And then when you're ready, finding that tilt forward as you extend that leg back behind you. Making sure to breathe. Being intentional with what you're bringing onto the mat. And then we'll start to bring that knee right back up. One more little can kick. Foot comes down. Reaching those arms up towards the sky. Letting everything hang out. One more time. Maybe you V the arms a little bit. Find a little mini back bend. And then stacking everything, we're going to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Folding forward. We're going to make our way all the way down to the bum. If you want to move through a squat, that's an option, or you can just plop on down. Once you're there, bringing soles of the feet together, finding that nice tall seat, nice long spine. Just starting to breathe here in this shape, in this space. Allowing the body and the breath to kind of reconnect to that rhythm, that sense of slowing things down, that awareness of energy that's happening on your mat within yourself. Just taking a couple more breaths here. We'll just gently start to press the knees together, keeping the feet planted. If you are wanting to use a blanket for your Shavasana tonight, just make sure that that's nearby so you can grab it once we get there. And from here, we're just taking a nice easy roll all the way down to the mat. Keeping the feet planted, knees bent once you're there. And just finding a little sway of the knees side to side. A little release of that low back. Bringing the knees back to center. We're going to just cross that left ankle over the right knee. And we're going to kind of explore all the options with this figure four shape. So if you know that this is enough and you're not really wanting to add on anything else, you can just hang out here. Maybe the arms come out into that cactus arm shape or a T. Just taking a couple moments to settle in. Feel what this version of the shape can offer you. If you're wanting a little bit more, starting to bring the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you reach for the back of that right thigh, hugging the legs in. Making sure the head and neck are still nice and easy here. We don't want everything to get kind of cramped up. So finding that little bit of release. This can be nice and still, or maybe you find a little movement side to side. Again, just taking the space to explore what this pose, what this shape in the body can offer you in the moment. Honoring the shapes that feel good and right, just letting go of the ones that don't. Taking just a couple more breaths here. If that right foot is lifted, just allowing it to come back down to the mat. We're going to keep this figure four shape. Arms will come out into that cactus arms or a T shape. And then we're just going to start to drop the legs over towards the right. So coming into our supine twist, that left foot might come all the way down to the floor. The sensation of pressing that left knee away from the torso, away from the body. So you're finding this stretch on this outer part of the hip. Creating space in the hip, creating space in that low belly. Settling back into the breath. And then we'll start to bring the knees back to center. Bringing that left foot back down to the mat. Just taking a moment of pause here in this kind of neutral shape in the body. And then we're going to cross that right ankle over the left knee. Same options. You can stay if this is enough and this feels happy, stay here. If you already know that you're wanting to explore more, maybe you just linger in this starting point for a little bit longer. And then as you're ready, maybe hugging those legs in towards the body, reaching for the back of that left thigh. And just honoring where you're at. If you get into it, doesn't feel right, just let it go. Just coming back to that intention of being slow and soft, inviting the energy that you need into your body onto the mat. Breathing here for a couple more breaths. If you have that left foot lifted, just bringing it back down to the mat, keeping that right leg as it is. And then as you're ready, dropping those legs over towards the left. Maybe that right foot comes all the way down to the floor. Again, that right leg is pressing away from the torso, creating that space through that low belly, finding the stretch deep in the hip, kind of opening up all these areas that we might have gotten a little cranky with our flight tonight. One more breath wherever you're at. Start to bring those legs back to center, bringing that right foot down to meet the left. And just walking the feet out a little wider towards the edges of the mat, finding that little windshield wiper of the knees again. And if you're needing any extra movement tonight before we settle in here, just giving yourself space for that to happen. If you're ready to kind of come on down to this last little moment, letting the legs extend, letting the arms fall out to the sides. Maybe you use that blanket behind the head or use it to find your little burrito shavasana. Just taking your time to get set up here for these last little moments of our practice together. Slowing things down even more. Being intentional with how you're kind of setting up the surrounding out of our time together. Maybe how it's setting you up for the rest of your week. As you carry that reminder of kind of being in charge of the space that you inhabit, being mindful and choosy about the energy that you're inviting in, making sure that it's energy that will serve you, honor where you're at and what you're needing, and maybe provide a little extra boost to then share that energy out with those around you. Just slowly starting to bring a little more intention to the breath. Gently finding little movements, fingers and toes, gentle sway of the head side to side, putting a bend in the knees as you start to roll to one side or the other. And just taking your time, making your way to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed, hands at heart center. I want to thank you all so much for starting off the week with me and sharing this space and practice together, apart but together. The light within me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Cheers, everyone. Thank you all again for being here tonight and just sharing a little movement and a little community, even though we're all sharing it via a screen. It's just super encouraging to me to know that you're all out there and we're doing it together. Just a couple quick announcements before you head off to hopefully maybe some more sunshine moments or whatever your Monday night holds for you. I'm going to scooch up to the screen. There's like sunshine glowing happening. Awesome. Thank you, CJ. I'm glad that you were here. So today we had our second installment of the 6-week meditation series that Mickey's doing. So if you didn't get a chance to check it out at 12:15, the recording is there for you on the YouTube page. So definitely check it out. I was able to work it in and it was exactly what I needed for a little midday break. We opened registration for next Monday's EOLA class. I'll be teaching it. Last I checked, we had some spots left, but you might be getting on the wait list. But usually we kind of cycle through the wait list as well prior to class. So hopefully you can join us there. And then we will be back at the Mill, the Heritage Center this Wednesday. That class is full with a wait list, but we're super excited to have that class be back in partnership with Taproot. And then Yulia will be teaching our noon class this week. And then we'll be back at it on Saturday morning. So hopefully we will see you all sometime soon. Thank you, Lori and Debbie. Yay, I'm so glad you both are here. Oh, I'm so glad. I mean, I would have let you stay in your hammock, Pam. That's where I'd like to be as well. But I'm glad that you joined us. I'm so happy to have you here. As always, so wonderful to share this space with you all. I hope you have a really beautiful week and just get out there and enjoy all of the sun rays that are happening. Cheers.